but I would prefer that we don't use as retribution canceling $110 billion worth of work, which means 600,000 jobs. I know it sounds easy and it sounds good, and a lot of people have said, oh, let's just not sell them $110 billion.
Okay, now before I start, let me just say that what was going on in that video had nothing to do with Crown Jewel. This had everything to do with Donald Trump reacting to the news that just came out on Jamal Khashoggi and whether he is going to pull out of agreements that he, basically the United States of America, has with Saudi Arabia. And basically that he won't because there's set amount of money going into it and we need that money. So with that all being said, before this video even starts, I want you guys to ask yourself, if the President of the United States just came out and publicly said that I am not going to drop out of whatever kind of agreement he has with Saudi Arabia, if the President of the United States will not pull out of an agreement with Saudi Arabia, what makes you think that Vince McMahon is going to drop out of an agreement? It may be making lesser money, but if the president won't do it, why would he do it? I start us off with that because I'm getting into this video with this mindset of Crown Jewel is definitely going to happen. I think it is. I will be shocked if Crown Jewel does not happen. And here's why. If you're not up to date on what's going on here, please go online, search up Jamal Khashoggi and catch up. I will put links in the description down below for you guys to read on these articles, catch up, and come back to this video. I really don't want to go through everything that just happened because this video is going to be longer than it has to be if I do that. But basically, it just got released yesterday that Saudi Arabia officials have come clean that Jamal Khashoggi was killed in a fist fight. After a week, 2 weeks maybe, after 7 to 14 days of them saying, well, we don't know what happened to Jamal Khashoggi. We could have sworn he came out of the consulate. Now they come forward and say, oh, well, he died in a fist fight. Are you kidding me? All of a sudden, you know what happened to him after you blatantly said, well, we don't know what happened to him. After basically a whole week of them denying these allegations that they killed Jamal Khashoggi and saying, well, we don't know what happened to him. I don't know. I guess he must have came out of the consulate, right? Now they're saying, oh, well, he might have died in a fist fight. We're going to arrest the people who may have been accountable for it, though. So please, everyone, calm down. We're arresting those people. What? That's a bullshit story. I'm sorry, but that's a bullshit story. The Saudi officials are full of shit. They're trying to feed us some BS lie to cover up the fact that you mean to tell me a fist fight involves someone going in with a bone saw and dismembering someone's body? The disappearance of another man's body. The whole place that he was killed in being repainted all of a sudden. That's just a fist fight. He died in a fist fight, but 18 people needed to be arrested for this. He fought like 18 different people at once. They're trying to cover themselves up. It doesn't make any sense. I think every journalist in the entire world is basically coming at Saudi Arabia and basically all but saying that they're full of shit, and I agree with them. If I'm a journalist in today's day and age, I'd be kind of worried because basically Saudi Arabia, in a sense, is condoning lèse-majesté by coming out with this statement and nothing else. No, we apologize for the no condolences, nothing. Just, well, you know, he died this way. Oh well, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from them right now. So WWE, knowing all this information, even before all this came out, everyone's like, they should cancel Crown Jewel. I was one of those people. They should cancel Crown Jewel. They should do this. They should do that. And now, you know, we're seeing WWE is pulling. I went to the WWE page earlier about Crown Jewel, and it seems like it seems like they took the whole article down. You can't even go to the page about Saudi Arabia, which I guess that's a good thing, right? But here's the thing. They're still advertising it on TV. They're just not saying it's happening in Saudi Arabia. You want to know why they're not saying it's happening in Saudi Arabia? Because they need something to cover up the fact that they're probably still going to go there. So in order to make them not look any worse than they already look, they're going to not say Saudi Arabia on air. Why would they give them that publicity? It gives them bad publicity. So they're not going to for all people saying, well, this is the no, they're not going to mention Saudi Arabia on the show. If they go, then you know exactly why. But they're not going to mention it on the show. They're not going to mention it on Twitter. And I highly doubt that they're going to even promote the show anymore with the affiliation of Saudi Arabia. But I bet you they're still going to go there. As I said earlier in the video, if the President of the United States won't pull out of the agreement between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia, why should Vince McMahon pull out of his agreement with Saudi Arabia? Because it's the right thing to do. We obviously see that money is the obvious reason for why Donald Trump is sticking with this agreement. Everyone has been saying Vince McMahon is in it for the money. There is your proof right there that this show is still happening. There is your proof right there that this show is going to happen. If it does not happen, I'll be shocked and I will be happy. I'll be happy that WWE finally came to their senses and they realized this is the bad move to make. I'm going to give them credit if they cancel the show, because they should. But it's obvious that their agenda here is let's go in, make this quick bank, and go. That's their agenda. They don't care. They don't care about what's happening over there. That has nothing to do with the company. Jamal Khashoggi was not a reporter for WWE. That was the Washington Post. I'll be honest. If Jamal Khashoggi did not work for the Washington Post, I bet you up and down, no one from this country would probably give a shit about what's going on over there. And that's the truth. I highly doubt people will be reporting on this if Jamal Khashoggi did not work for the United States. He spoke out about the country in his own country. Guess what? The same thing would have happened, but probably sooner. And I'm getting heated about this because the more and more that comes out and the longer WWE procrastinates and shows that they're not going to pull out, it makes wrestling fans look bad. You want to know why it makes us look bad? Because for however long you've been a wrestling fan, you may have been a wrestling fan for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30. You probably most likely have watched, or even spend most of your leisure watching WWE. And everyone has their thoughts and opinions on WWE. A lot of them tends to be negative when you go on the internet. I tend to have a lot of negative opinions on the internet about WWE. I do. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't, because I do. But I think this incentive that WWE needs to, and I will say this right now, another YouTuber, Rasslin Rantin, put out a video yesterday, and I already had my mind made up that I'm going to make this video, but he put this out before I went to sleep. I watched it, and I was like, I totally agree with this guy. I totally agree with him. I'll put the link in the description down below too. If you are one of the people who supports, if you're one of the YouTubers out there who put out videos saying WWE should cancel Crown Jewel, but you'll be the same person who goes and watches the show, you are part of the problem. And I hate to be blunt and I hate to sound rude when I say this, but everyone who says that they should cancel the show but they have no incentive on not what, you're a part of the problem. Because you're condoning this behavior. We've done this for years now. WWE does things that we don't like, but we tune in. Now I have, to a degree, stopped. Years ago, I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown because I was getting tired of my voice not being heard of the same shit over and over again. So I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown. Even today, I still don't watch Raw and SmackDown. I don't watch NXT because I feel like these stars getting built up to go to the main roster to become nothing. So I don't even watch NXT like that anymore. I don't watch the pay-per-views like that anymore. I watch it from time to time. There are certain pay-per-views I just straight up don't watch. So to the people who go on and on about how WWE will not do this, they don't do that, but they go on there and they complain and complain and complain, but then they turn around and they still watch the product to have a reason to complain. You're a part of the problem. You're condoning their bad behavior. Albert Einstein once said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, that's exactly what we're doing. WWE gives us shit and we eat that shit. We say it tastes like shit, but what do? We keep on eating it because that's the only thing that we've been taught or learned to do over the past few years. We watch WWE because from a young age we're conditioned to think that this is the biggest show in town. this is the only thing to watch. And over this year alone, there's so many other products you could watch now. Progress Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Dragon Gate Wrestling. Fucking, I can keep going on and on. There's so many other options to watch, but we sit here, we come back to this product that we obviously do not like and do not tolerate. And we're getting to this point now where we're saying cancel the WWE Network, or we gotta cancel Crown Jewel. But you come back to it all the time. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't do it because I'm a hypocrite. I still watch some pay-per-views. I don't watch Raw, SmackDown. I watch them from time to time when it shows on my channel. So yes, I am a hypocrite to an extent. I'm not gonna sit here and let you guys say I'm not. But a lot of you do the exact same thing, and to a much worse extent than I do. And then people have and I'm not gonna sit here and say the last week I didn't say the following. So if they do go through with the show, I'm gonna, my outlook on them is going to just not be the most positive one. I will say that. You know, some people are saying, oh, I'm canceling my WWE Network subscription. You know, if you want to do that you can do that. I'm not gonna say you shouldn't do it, or hey, you know, they're gonna, hey, whatever, if you want to protest against it, do it. I'm not really going to protest against it. That's really not my thing in these kind of situations, especially because I don't know 100% all the details. So, okay, I did because I did not know the extent of what was going on. But now that I do, my opinion has totally changed. You know? I firmly believe that if you don't like what WWE is doing with the Crown Jewel Jamal Khashoggi thing, do not watch Crown Jewel. Don't watch it. Unsubscribe from the network if you have to. Don't watch it. If WWE is doing something morally that you don't agree with, why would you go and watch the show? Spend your time. Spend your money watching this show. Because they're taking $9.99 out of your network account for you to watch this show. At the end of the month, you're paid $9.99 to watch Crown Jewel. That's how I see it. Nothing will ever change among this company if people do not tell them that what they're doing is wrong. No amount of you saying cancel Crown Jewel is going to make them give a shit about canceling Crown Jewel. The only way you can make or get close to getting WWE canceling Crown Jewel is if you do something about it. Now, I'm not saying go to fucking the headquarters and stand outside with pitchforks and picket signs. If you want to do that, you can. I'm not saying let's do that. I'm saying a form of protest, being that you don't watch Crown Jewel. You go on Twitter and you say hashtag boycott Crown Jewel. Let's get that trending. Boycott Crown Jewel. Let's get that trending on Twitter, on YouTube. Boycott the show. Everyone should boycott. If you don't agree with what they're doing, you should be boycotting the show. WWE will never get the point if you don't stay true to your word. If you sit here and you say, I'm not going to watch, don't watch the show. Don't watch next week's show. Don't watch the pay-per-view coming up. You got to stay true to your word when you say, I'm done. Don't come back to it. Now, if it's just Crown Jewel, then don't watch Crown Jewel and watch Raw the next week, or watch SmackDown next week, or watch the next pay-per-view. But if this is really hurting you and you really have a problem with it, just cancel your network subscription and watch something else. I'm speaking to everyone. That means the viewers watching this. That means my subscribers who watch my videos day in and day out. And I'm talking about the wrestling news reporters, the wrestling news cover YouTubers. I'm talking to everyone. If this is a problem, you need to boycott the show. I'm boycotting the show. When November 2nd comes around and Crown Jewel goes live, I'm going to be live streaming something completely different. Whether it's W2K19 and me rendering matches from Crown Jewel, I might be doing something completely. I am not watching this show. I'm not giving them my time. They don't deserve it. They have proved right now that they are not even worthy of some of the audience that they have. Strength in numbers is the deal here, guys. There is strength in numbers. It's not, I can't just come out here and say boycott Crown Jewel and I'm the only person talking about this. There needs to be other people talk. Rasslin Rantin is one of the people who said this. I'm on board with what he's going with. Don't watch it. Don't give WWE your money. If you're not willing to stop watching WWE in protest of what's going on, then you're welcoming more stuff like this to happen, because they'll never know that they're doing anything wrong if nothing is done to them. They need to know that the ratings will drop. They need to know people will not buy the network subscriptions. They need to know people will not watch this show if they go to this country. No amount of you saying cancel the show is going to make them cancel the show. What will make them possibly cancel the show is if they know that people won't watch it. Because it's obvious that no one else that I know of is going to be able to talk them out of it. Bigger example here. Daniel Bryan. Wrestling related, of course. Daniel Bryan was not supposed to be in WrestleMania 30 main event. But what happened? Fans banded together from all sides of the universe, and they were chanting yes and yes and yes throughout every segment. They wanted to see Daniel Bryan desperately be in a main event WrestleMania. They hijacked the Royal Rumble. They hijacked Raw and SmackDown and every other show until WWE finally gave up and gave us the main event WrestleMania. WrestleMania 34. They announced the fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal. Everybody from the woodworks came out and said that this is wrong. Fabulous Moolah is a terrible person and da 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 da. What did they do? They went to the sponsors of WWE. The sponsors said that we don't like this, and what did WWE do? They pulled out of it. They pulled out. They said we're gonna rename it. Maybe we need to go to the sponsors. Maybe we need to go to something bigger than WWE. Maybe you need to go Fox. They have a deal with Fox. Maybe you need to go to them. Maybe you need to tweet at Fox what's going on here. So if Fox doesn't agree with what's going on, they might say, hey, this isn't a good idea. And we just made this $5 billion deal with you. Why don't you, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. I'll give you this $5 billion. How about you just not go to Saudi Arabia? We'll handle the rest of the lot. Something needs to happen. We need to do something. I'll probably be doing a live stream during Crown Jewel. I invite anybody, subscribers, YouTubers, to watch, join in, interact when it happens. But as far as Crown Jewel goes, scratch, cancel Crown Jewel, boycott Crown Jewel.